Hello and welcome everyone. Today is going to be installing the Kubuntu operating system 12.4 and installing the fog imaging server. Free open ghosting is what it stands for, and what it is to be able to image your network without paying for commercial software. It's actually a open source technology. So let's go ahead and show you where I'm going to download this from. I've actually already downloaded it, but I'm going to show everyone here where to download it from. And go ahead. Alright, so what I'm going to do here, let's go to the web. Expand this open here. Everybody can see it. I've got this. Hang on, sorry about this. Alright. Gotta love Windows 7. Alright, so where am I going to go here? I'm going to go to the Kubuntu website. So I'm going to type in Kubuntu, and I want to download the 12.4. So I'll go ahead and click on that. I'm going to go right to the Kubuntu's website. And what we're looking to do is download the 12.4 LTS. And usually what happens, see when I click on a link like that, how it took me someplace else. So I'm going to click directly on the Kubuntu site here. And this is what the default page looks like. Let's go ahead and click on Get Kubuntu. And I want you not to use the latest release, but we're going to use the 12.4, the long-term support release. And you want to make sure that you're downloading, okay, the Kubuntu 12.04.1 LTS. And for compatibility reasons, I'm going to download the 32-bit version to install it. So you guys would do that and download it. I've actually already downloaded mine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create the Virtualbox. And I'm using the newest version of Virtualbox on this. And that current version right here is 4.2.4. It is the current release. As of today, it was just updated. Alright, so let's go to New. And I want to call this one, whoops, made a mistake there, a typo. Kubuntu Fog Server. I'm going to leave it as default without the FAT32 on the bottom of it. I'm sorry, it's going to be FAT32. And the version, that 64-bit version, requires a dual-core minimum processor of some type. Dual core could even be AMD, but you want to run it at 64-bit. It'll actually work in 64-bit because I have a 64-bit system. Mine's actually a quad. So go ahead and continue on this. And 512 megs of RAM in it. It's fine. We'll leave it for defaults. Click Next. Continue. And I'm leaving everything default. So the VDI virtual disk is fine. Dynamically located is fine, and I'm going to select about 118 gigs. So 118 gigs for the drive. That way, if I'm going to do some experimentation and try to install on some external virtual boxes, which I'm going to do as well in this tutorial so that you can see the full imaging process as well. But mainly what this one's going to be about is installing fog. So let's continue. Alright, right click on it now once you've created it and go to settings. And in this case, we're not going to be using the server for anything else as a desktop or to be able to use for a user to use. So I'm going to remove or not allow the audio card not to work. There's no reason for it. Also, I'm going to go ahead and let's see in the display. That looks all okay. Alright, that looks good. I don't think we need a serial port on here. That is already disabled. Okay, good. On the network interface, we're going to turn this to bridged adapter. Alright, network interface is going to be as a bridged adapter. Let's go to storage and let's highlight the empty container and then go ahead and add our Kubuntu ISO. Mine particular one is on my folders on a desktop under ISOs. Here it is, Kubuntu 12.04.1. Let's go ahead and open that up. And click OK, and let's go ahead and start it up and start to install it. And then I got to hit enter here on the keyboard. Activate it. Let's go ahead and install Kubuntu. Let's go ahead and click next on it. Now, notice this, that it's connected to the internet. What I found that makes this install very quickly without trying to go out and do some updates from the internet is to turn off the network interface. What I'm going to do down here in Virtualbox, I'm going to right click here on the network adapters and go to network adapters itself, and I'm going to go open up the advanced tab under networking, and I'm going to disconnect the cable. That way it doesn't try to do any updates while it's installing, because it can take up to an hour to install. And you notice that gives me the big red X there, which is good, which means that I don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to click continue on that. And let's go ahead and start the install process here. It's say use guided. Go back one. Actually, I can't go back. What it is, and when that one screen comes that says guided throughout the installation, you guys want to go through that, because it's just going to ask you each step when you need to install or create a password, which is good. You can see this fairly goes pretty quick. Click continue again, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a name here. And I'm just calling it my name. Virtualbox is fine. That's a short enough name, which is fine. Click next on it. And it painfully easily done. So that this is not quite that hard to install, but the main thing you have to do to get Fog and just about any other package on there is you need to install it to the drive, not use it as a test operating system, but to make it to where that you're updating all of the compiling utilities, everything on there, so that it can compile and load everything that's required. So once we get to that point, I'm going to show you that there's going to be two sets of commands that we need to do to be able to update everything before we even attempt to install the Fog server. I'm going to go ahead and adjust this up. Need to move everything up here on the tutorial section. Here we go. Alright. Shouldn't be too much longer before it installs. Alright, looks like it's done installing. So let's go ahead and click on the restart. Bring it back up here. Shouldn't take more than a few seconds to get this done. And you do need to hit enter, otherwise it's just going to sit there. This is a good sign. It's booting back up. Alright, let's go ahead, and I put my username as Leroy. Alright, it looks like everything booted up okay. So let's go ahead and start doing a little bit of updating on the Kubuntu operating system here. These are some things that we need to update before you can even begin to install most software. This is in my experience. Now, you notice down here on the network interface it's red, so we need to connect my internet connection here. And to do that, I'm going to highlight the network card and then reconnect the cable button again. And as we wait here, you can watch this right here. It's going to look at that. We have a connection, and then pretty soon we're going to have a little symbol showing that it's connected to the network. There we go. It's the little green check. And then once that disappears, we have a connection. See the symbol for that? So now I'll go ahead and open this up, and I'll go to my web browser here. And let's take a look at a website. Just anything. I probably usually, I don't know, eBay. See if that pops up on here. Looks like it worked no problem. Very good. All right. Okay, so let's go to our console by going to the Kubuntu button here, or start button here, or kickoff launcher as they're calling it, TAR. And when I type in those first three letters, what I'm trying to do is get to the console or the terminal. And let's go ahead and click on that. A little nice little animated terminal. I'm going to go ahead and open this up widescreen. So our first command needs to be, notice I'm at $sign, I'm at an ordinary user, so I need to enter sudo as the commands to be able to update. So I'm going to type in sudo space apt space get space update, and then hit enter on that and give it your administrator password. And you notice it's downloading from the web and doing some updates here. It's going pretty quick, which is done already. Great. This is the one that's going to take a little while to do. You type in sudo space apt dash get space upgrade, and hit enter on that, and you notice it has a lot of things that pretty much cover where it's going to update on it, which needs to be updated to do any kind of compiling or installing software of any kind. So I'm going to go ahead and answer yes to this and hit enter. And what it's doing is it's getting those archives right now, the whole list we just saw up there. It's downloading them, which is coming over pretty quickly. So don't necessarily expect this to go this quick on yours. If your internet connection is slow, if it's fast, then definitely will go this quick. Notice that it says the percentage right down here in the corner, right here, which says 39%, which is normal. And you see it's kind of its progression bar is what it is, which is nice. Looks like it's getting all those packages first. You can see get on all those links. And then once it's done getting them, it's going to go ahead and install them. So I'm just kind of showing you guys this so you can see it. Alright, looks like it downloaded its last one. Looks like it's going to start updating the system now. Look at that, it's extracting them. This is just about to the end when it's about done here. That it doesn't, I'm sorry, that it's finished. It should only be a few more seconds here. I can see the hard drive light going wildly on right here inside of Virtualbox. And you notice it is giving this system notification that it needs to be restarted. It's absolutely true. You do need to restart it. It is a lot of updates, and yes, it is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give it the Unix command to do that. Type in sudo space reboot. Go ahead and hit enter on that. And the reason being is it's got a lot of updates that it just did. We need to make sure that they're all running and functional when we go to install Fog Imaging Server. Give it a second here to reboot. Go ahead and log in here. And we're just about ready to download the imaging server and set it up. I did want to do one last command. I know this command is about setting up the headers for compiling with the GCC compiler, but I think it's essential to just go ahead and do the complete picture of updating this to make sure that everything is good. So I'm going to issue that one last command here, and I will post these commands in the tutorial on YouTube so that you guys can see them. So I'm going to go to the terminal here. Type in sudo. This is the last command. Sudo app-get space install build-essential is the last one. Sudo apt-get space install build-essential is the last one. Let's make sure the dependency library, everything is updated. Yes, I want to do that. That way we're all updated. Any other software we want to install on the system from the time that you're using it, you should have no issues with it setting it up from these three options that we did so far. Looks good. I don't believe this one's going to take too dreadfully long. I see that it's adding the GCC compiler right here. See it right here and right here. It's actually adding it to it. So that's a good thing, especially when we're setting up new software on the machine and we need to do any further compiling or source compiling of software. There it is done. I'm very happy with that. That didn't take no time at all. I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen. And we can go ahead and close out of this for now. What I want to do as well now is I want to open this up and let's go look for the Fog Imaging Server. Let's go to the Kubuntu web browser there. Let's go ahead and download it. I'm going to go ahead and open it up full screen. And I'm going to go to Google first. And once I'm at Google, I'm going to type in Fog Imaging. Put a space on it here. Alright. Let's go ahead and go to the download page. Let's go to Fog. Excuse me there. And now let's go to the Fog 3.2 version. And we're also going to do the Fog 32-bit tar. And it's going to ask me when to download it here in about 5 seconds. So let's go ahead, bring that up. And since it didn't ask me to download it, I can wait here. If it's going to do it, I'm just going to go direct link. Sometimes it's a little overloaded when you go to the site. Kind of like right now. Yes, it's timing out right there. Usually when that happens, I just close the web, go back to it again. Sometimes it's reset up. I don't know. It could be just any number of things. The reason why, because I'm not having a bad internet connection, but I'm having slowdown times of going to the forward side. I'll go to it again. Let's try it again. Let's go back to the download tab. Go to Fog. Fog 32. Let's download the tar. There it goes. Let's go save as. And I'll leave it in my documents folder is fine. And yes, I'll leave it as that name is fine. And let's go ahead and download it. And in the Kubuntu is this little 1 down here that shows what's being downloaded, so we can actually see it coming over. I'm going to cancel the other one. Takes about 4 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and pause it while that's downloading. Alright, looks like everything's downloaded again. And let's go ahead and go to the Kubuntu button here for start. And let's go to the terminal, type in TER, it'll bring it up. Console again. And now it downloaded in my documents folder. So CD DLC for documents. And there it is. I downloaded 2 of them because I wasn't sure if there was something wrong with the file, why it was taking so long. So we're going to find out here real quick. So I'm going to uncompress the one that's actually the original one from the site first and see if that one's okay. And if not, I'll download this. We'll compile this secondary one. Alright. So I need to issue a command called sudo. And I want to use a command called gunzip to unzip the file first. And we'll type in fog point. There we go. It'll be what I did is I typed in fog FOG and then hit tab and then it does auto completion. Since there was 2 files in there, I just needed to get past it. When I put a period, it finished it. So I want to uncompress it first. I'm hitting enter and it's uncompressing it. Now when we look at it again with ls-l, you'll see that there's a fault that's just one tar ball in there now. Doesn't have the GZ at the end of it. Now we're going to uncompress that part of it. Tar is the next command. First sudo space tar space -xvf, and then I just type in FO and I'll put a period so it knows to go to the tar. Then you hit enter on that as well. And we go through a slew of information there. Alright, so now it's uncompressed. And it looks good. And I see that it is a directory here. You can see that right there. So before I do this, what I want to do is I want to set a static IP address up. I don't want to let my DHCP server do this. I need a static IP because this is going to be a server. So IFCONFIG to find out what the IP address is. My IP address is 192.168.1.66. Let's go ahead and edit the network card to make sure that it's a permanent static IP. So see down here where this little icon is? It's the network interface. If you right click on it, and I did say right click on it, go to Network Management Settings. And what we can do is we go to the Wired tab, and you can see here's the internet connection currently right now. And remember that the IP address was the 192.168.1.66. So let's go to Edit It. Let's turn it off from automatic and change it to manual. And let's put in our static IP address, which is the same one, 192.168.1.66. Subnet mask. When I hit tab, it'll automatically put the correct subnet mask in there. And what is my gateway? It's 192.168.1.1. And also my DNS server is the same for this project, 1.1. There we go. Let's go ahead and click OK. And it did connect it. That's fine. And it's just wanting to verify it here. I don't believe I need to enter that in there. This is a new wallet feature that's inside of Kubuntu. I believe I don't have to edit that. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK on that. And just to make sure that everything is working okay, I'm going to go ahead and ping another website again. Google looks like it's pinging without any trouble. Look at that. No problem in responding. Hit Control Z to end out of that. Alright. Now that we have a static IP address and we're ready to go, let's go ahead and install the fog imaging server. So type in pwd to tell me what folder I'm in. I'm still in the documents folder. I need a CD or change directory over to the fog folder. And then click enter. And then I need to change over to the Ben folder. And then you notice from the pwd, whoops, I'm sorry. By the notice what's on the screen when I type in pwd, see what folder I'm in now. Alright. So let's clear it. Let's ls, type in ls-l to list it to see that it's already set to be an executable. So I'm going to put in sudo space period / install fog.sh, excuse me. And let's click enter on it. And it looks like it's coming up no problem. It already selected Ubuntu based Linux, Kubuntu, or Edbuntu. Let's click enter on it. And I'm going to accept the install, which was N. This says, do I want to do this type of installation? Yes, I do. My IP address is was it 66? Frankly, I don't tell you, I thought it was 65, but let me look here just to make sure. Yeah, I guess it is 66. Okay, just making sure. Yes, I'd like to set up an IP address from a router, which it is 1.1. Yes, I'd like to set up a DNS for it, so it's going to be 192.168.1.1. Do I want to change? Nope. Do I want to set up the fog server as the DHCP service? Yes, I do. Answer yes. No, I would not like to install additional information packs. And yes, everything looks correct. As you can tell here, all my settings are set up correctly. Answer yes. And if everything goes okay, if it's responding, it's going to tell me click enter to verify it. Looks like it's going okay. almost done here. And it did. Looks like it found the packages it needs and it installed them. I'm going to click enter to continue. And on this, on the MySQL password, if you need to change it later on, that's fine. But on this one, you don't want to. I'm going to go ahead and click enter on that. And we just want to hit enter here just to be able to make a blank password. That should come up 3 times. I think that's the third one or the second one. It'll come up one more time if it's not the third one. There it is. Hit enter. Make sure you are hitting enter whenever this comes up, because you want it to have a blank password in it to start off. I know it's not that secure, but at least let's start out to where the install is successful. Looks like it's going fairly okay. I don't see any issues with it. Looks like it's selected and installing without issue, which is good. Almost done here. And when I see the clam come up, that's usually about right at the end of what it needs to install. Looks like it's starting up MySQL. Web server, everything looks good. Yeah, we can send a notification, hit enter on it, and then lastly what we need to do is there's a link right here. We need to go to open this up in our browser. So you right click on it and open link. And what that does is we've got to do one last final configuration where it loads the info into the database of the fog server. It's loading up, and remember our username and password. You got to click on this little link down here where it says to finish it to load up the MySQL dump, sets up the tables and everything for the database. And you click on install now and it's finished, and click on here to log into it and fog, and then the password is password. Go ahead and log in. Everything looks good. I see everything configured up. Now you want to change a couple of things, and we want to create our first image for this. So I want to go ahead and click on other information, okay, and then I want to click on fog settings. And under fog settings, I want to come down the list here to where it says quick image ID and quick registration. I want to enable those two things by putting a 1 and getting rid of the negative sign that's on there. Okay, I'm going to click save changes for that. And now I should be good. The only other thing I need to do is create my first image. Now I'm going to take an image with this. So to do that, I want to go to Image Management, and I want to do a new image. And this one I'm going to use as Windows 7 Test. And I need to select what group it is. It's under the default group. And this is fine where it says Windows Test. I'm going to just select what it is. It's a multiple partition. I'm sorry. It's a multiple partitions, a single disk. It says it's not resizable, but it actually is, which is okay. So I'm going to click Add for that, and then so now what I'm going to be waiting for is I'm going to register my first host. Now I'm going to go to Host Management, list all hosts, and there's no host listed here yet because I haven't set one up yet. So now what I need to do, I need to implement that. But since I have an internal network and I want to set this up to run on an internal card, that was the reason also why we set up a static IP address, because now when I go into VirtualBox, even though Fog is really extremely happy about this, what it does is it complains that it can't resolve the web pages or it can't resolve the names, but it still works correctly. So I'm going to go in here in VirtualBox, not inside Kubuntu, but in VirtualBox, right click on the network adapters, and I want to change the network adapter from bridged to internal. Alright, so let's do that by from internal to bridged. From bridged to internal. Click OK on it, and the Kubuntu sign should say the network's going down. It might not. Yeah, no, it didn't. Looks like it's okay. Alright, so what we need to do now is we need to go ahead and build or install a version of, we're going to do Windows 7. So let me go ahead and get Windows 7 here. Alright, let's continue on here. Let's go to our VirtualBox. And it's my best practice to speed things up in VirtualBox to load it faster is to go ahead and shut down your first VirtualBox, because if you got them both running at the same time, it does tend to slow it down a little bit. So I'm going to install a enterprise version, which is the trial version of Microsoft Windows 7. I'm going to call it Windows 7. Automatically selected it, and this is a 32-bit version. I'm going to accept all the defaults. Next on everything. Dynamic is fine. 25 gigs is fine. And right click on it, go to settings, and I need the network interface to be an internal one. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn off the sound card. I don't need the USB controller. I'll go ahead and leave that one on. That's fine. Go to setup, go to empty container. I'm going to go to where I'm storing my ISO images here. Here's the enterprise version of Windows 7. And let's start installing it. And I'm going to make an image of this operating system inside of Fog. You see, it looks like it's installing. Go ahead and get this started, and I'll go ahead and pause it while this is installing, because we don't need to sit here and watch this like paint drying. Custom install, which is fine. Let's get this one going. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause it, and once it's done, I'll come back. And it looks like it's just about done. Looks like it's just about done on there. Almost. And it's going into the final phases of setting up Windows 7, which is almost done. Because we're going to need to do a little bit of sysprepping on this one to make sure that the image, that way you can deploy this on a network, however you're setting up. And later on, I'm going to also do a Windows automated installation kit to show you how to make a completely unattended XML file. Alright, looks like it's rebooting, no problem. And of course, don't hit any key, otherwise it's going to boot back up to the CD again, which we don't want. I'm just letting it run because it's almost done here. Oh, it's got to go through another phase. I'm going to pause it. Be right back. Alright, we'll name this one Test 1. Test 1 is fine. Whoops. Alright, let's click Next on it. Accept all the defaults. No need to put a password in it. And ask me later. Time zone is fine. Work group is fine for network settings. You notice it is the enterprise version. And again, take a look at my network settings, network adapters. Make sure that it's set to internal network. Okay? And it looks like everything is good. Alright, just about done here. We don't need this back screen up here. Let's minimize that. It's just about finishing its load of Windows 7 Enterprise. Alright, it's done. Okay, so now we're going to sysprep it. We need to sysprep this image so that we can accept it into Fog's server. So let's go ahead and sysprep it by clicking Start, going to Computer, and I want to double click on C drive, and I want to click on Windows, and I want to go to System 32, and then I want to go to the sysprep folder. And it is alphabetized, so I can highlight one, hit S. Oops. Well, apparently not. So it's sysprep. Hang on just a moment here, we'll get to it. There it is, sysprep. And then we want to run the sysprep utility. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sysprep it. What this does is it makes it so that if you want to install this image on machines that don't have the same hardware in them, it'll detect it as it's booting up and it generalizes the whole system. But I want to change this to shut down so I know when everything has actually shut down. I know that it's not running, I don't know if it's sysprepped or not. This way it ensures that once it does shut down, I know it's done. So I'm going to click OK on that. And it's going through sysprepping it. I'm going to make sure that the CD-ROM is also disconnected too by right-clicking on the CD-ROM and then unchecking anything that's on there so it doesn't try to boot up to that. One other thing I do want to change is I want this to boot up to the network card. So once it's done sysprepping and it shuts down, we're going to go change the settings so it'll default to boot to the network card. This usually doesn't take dreadfully too long. Excuse me. Looks like it's getting ready to shut down right now, and it is. Alright, it did. It shut down, so let me go back to my VirtualBox here. And I want to change the settings. Number 1, so the network card boots up first. That's under System. Check the network card box. This is, again, VirtualBox. And I want to make it so that the network card boots first, and then OK that. And just so you know, again, if you forgot, go to Help and Version. The version I'm running is 4.24, which is the newest one that's on the site currently as of today, which is 11.11.12. Alright, and now I need to fire up my Fog server first. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to boot to my network card, and I'm going to register my VirtualBox once it comes up. But let Kubuntu completely install. I'm sorry, not completely boot up. log in here. Alright, looks like it's booted up. Let's just make sure that the fog server is opening up. Let's go to the web page. And again, remember, I'm on the internal network card. This is not connected to the internet. Internal network on there as well. Waiting for the web browser to open here. Or did I close it down? Nope. I don't know if I clicked on it or not. Oh, sure enough, it opens the moment I close it. Great. Let's bring it back up again. And it's going to run like it's not happy because it definitely isn't connected to the internet. Tough. But what I'm going to do is I'll put in the IP address of my server, which is right there, which is 66. And make sure that whenever you're logging into it, you got to put in fog in front of it. So it'll be the IP address of the server and then put in /fog. And then fog is the username and password is the password. And this does take a little bit of time to log in when it's not connected to the internet. So what it's doing is going to complain that it's not connected to the net, which is fine. For this lab, it's fine. I'm going to go ahead and fire up the Windows 7 while I'm waiting for that to log in anyways, because it's going to boot to the network card. And we should see the fog boot up, and we did. And you can see it here booted. I'm going to click on the quick registration to the inventory. What we're basically doing is registering the MAC address and this computer into the fog server. Is what that's doing. And if everything works out okay, looks like to me like it's going through. This one's still having a little bit of trouble logging in. Nevertheless, we know the fog is working. I think if we turn off the default gateway inside of the IP address, meaning there is no longer a default gateway, and we'll at least turn off the DNS and the default gateway, shouldn't give me an issue. Now I'm going to cancel this. Okay. I don't want it to boot from the hard drive right now, because if it starts up, we need to make the image. So all I got to wait for is logging into the. There it is. So it did log up. It just takes a little bit of time when you don't connect it to the internet, but for this lab project, it's okay to do this. Okay. So now I have an image, and when I go in here to host management, you're going to see when I list all hosts, you're going to see, look, there it is. So that's the one that just registered. Now what I want to do is I can edit this right now just to make sure. Alright, and I'm going to name this one my Win7 test machine. Okay, that way you guys all know that's the one I just did today. And the image I want to use for it is the Win7 test, which is the one that I set up earlier in the image management. And I want to select the OS, and it's Windows 7. Okay, so now that we've got that done, let's go ahead and OK that to update it. And it did, so let's go ahead and go to Task Management now. And once you're in Task Management, it's going to take a little second to update it again, which did. Now I want to list all the hosts. And here's my host here. Now I want to upload my image right here. So I want to click on the Upload tab. And then let's go ahead and upload image. Click Apply. And then let's go back to our Virtualbox to my Windows 7 that was in here. And now let's boot it up. And once it boots up to the network card, it's going to find out that I wanted to image that one. And it's going to start the image process on it. And it did already recognize it. Fog realizes this is the one I want to image, which is good. And there's two partitions on the Windows 7. There's that one little boot partition, and then the main partition. That's what you saw it just created. Now it's going to upload. It uploaded that one. Now it's going to upload the second one. Looks like my total image size is 5.78 gig. Go ahead and pause this until it's just about done. It looks like it finished imaging it and it rebooted as well. So since it rebooted, I'm going to go ahead and let it install because I do need to have another Windows 7 operating system for the next project, which we're going to use is doing CloneZilla Server, the live server edition. So we're going to be doing that, just so you guys know. That'll be my next tutorial here today. We'll go ahead and finish this screen up because I'm going to create another VirtualBox anyways. This will be test 2. Click next on it. Click next as well. Work network is what I prefer you guys always select. Alright, we need to register one more VirtualBox here, so since that one's finishing, I'm going to go ahead and run another VirtualBox here, create a new one to be able to accept my imaged Windows 7. So I'm going to go to New, and I'll say this is Windows 7 2. Now let's do 2 clone. Alright, let's click next on it. I'm going to accept all the defaults. The only thing that I need to change on this is I need to make a boot to the network card. So I need to go to the settings on that. Go to the network itself, change it to internal network. Go to system, turn on the network booting process and make it as the first boot device. Click OK on it. And you can see here that Windows 7 loaded up. Here was my first account. Here's the second one that I just added, but this is what I had before. So just so you guys can see that it will image, it will produce an image on there. Let's give it a second. Oh, there it's done. And so that's the very first one. So let's image the second one. So to do that, we need to go back to our FOG server, which is right here. And I need to make sure that I register this host. So let me go to the host management here. Alright, and let's view all hosts. Currently I only have the one that we did before. So now I'm going to go ahead and boot this one up and register it with... I'm going to cancel this because I don't need to set up anything. So all I want to do is get it to boot to the network card and find the FOG server. And it did. Let's go to the tab where it says Quick Registration and Inventory. Go ahead and load it up. And it looks like it's loading no problem. Attempting inventory, looks like it's accepting it. No issues. Takes a second. There we go, we got it. So I need to shut it down because I don't want it to boot up yet because I haven't set up FOG to be able to image it yet. So what I need to do is go back to the FOG server here and let's do list all hosts, and there we go. There's the other one. So I'm gonna edit this one. And I'll call this one our clone to image. Well, actually, you know what? I can't edit it yet because I need to. Well, you know what? Actually, I can because I do already have the image that I want to accept it to. The one that I loaded it up to is that Win7 test image, if I'm correct. And it does. It is a little slow when you do it this way because it doesn't resolve to the internet, but it still works. So I'm gonna call this Windows 7 clone is what I'm gonna name it. The host image is the one that we uploaded to earlier that I'm selecting, and the host image or the host operating system is going to be Windows 7. So what we do is we come down here, update that. Now when I go to the task management, it takes a second. Like I said, it's a little slow because it's not connected directly to the internet. And let's go to list all hosts. And there it is. There's the one that I want to clone it to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy the image to it. And again, I clicked on deploy, and I'm going to image all computers, which is only just that one. If I want to look at active tasks, I can see it right here that it's ready to go. Now all I got to do is that one image that I set up on here, right here, and then now when I boot it up, it's going to immediately install that image. And we don't need to keep that one running, but I want to show you the other one here. Starting to get a little bit too many of these open. Okay, and you see it loading up here, so we can have this Virtualbox running, and we can minimize this one, and then here's the one I'm setting the image to from Fog. Just so you know, here's the OS that we originally set up. There's a Fog image one running here in the background. Glad it didn't close. Okay. Now you see that? Here's all three of them right here. Here's the Fog server running Kubuntu. Here's the first one that I cloned this image, and then now I'm sending this image over to this Fog server right here. I don't want to go full screen. And you can see that it's imaging to it right now. It's checking the hard disk. It's getting ready. Sent the first part of that partition, no problem. You notice that it says at the top it was restore up there. And then look at the top, restore again right here, and it's sending out that 5.0 gig drive. You see it right? I mean, sorry, 5.87 gigabyte image. Go ahead and pause this again. We'll come back when it's just about done. Like it's finished installing, and this is our clone version. I'll just say test clone. No password. I'm not going to enter one in for right now. And then ask me later about the network and work network. Excuse me, work network is fine. Let's give it a shot here. And that is the complete tutorial to installing Kubuntu, updating it, setting it up to install a Fog server. Everything complete. So now you can see I have the first running operating system. I have a second clone of the first operating system running over here. And then also I have the Kubuntu server running with the Fog imaging on here as well. So you can see, list all the hosts on here. And as you can see for yourself, I have 2 of those images in there now, 2 computers that have been registered. And now I could set these up at any time and send images out to them and set them up and then make changes. This works out really good for the college that I work at, so that it makes it possible for me to set up tests for the students and then implement those tests on all the computers at one time. So we use a combination of Microsoft products and Fog Server as well. So there's a bunch of different products that we use to be able to make this work. So thank you for joining me, and have a great day. And I hope you liked the video. Please give me some good ratings on it. Thank you again.